Okay, power metal time.
Power metal time. You know what time it is?
It's. I need to turn myself.
I say power, you say metal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa.
Okay, gotta turn myself.
Dragons and swords and stuff.
Sup Nerds, welcome to Powerful, the Power Metal podcast, where we talk about power metal and power metal adjacent things because there's sometimes not that many bands, and we just also listen to their music. But now another month is by, I guess, so it's time to do this again, and I'm here, your host as usual, Fernando, with my good power metal friend, the wonderful Kyle. How's it going, Kyle?
I'm good. You know, it's been a minute since we've really dove deep into the recent power metal releases. We've been doing vacation travel logs to the festival season here in America, and I'm excited to do the usual thing where I talk at you about some albums.
Yeah, I really need to get up to speed with all these.
You had like 2 months for most of these albums.
Without you, I am lost in music. I don't know what I would do.
Just like our audience.
Just like our audience. This is why we do this, because you need to hear from us, and specifically from Kyle, what you should be listening to.
Am I an influencer? Is that what this means?
I think that's how it works. We are taste makers, I hope, just directing people to the truth.
Which is why we're going to talk about an extremely well-known or infamous band that you don't need us to talk about because it's
yeah, this is now like, this one honestly is like just a personal choice to talk about. We feel like we have to. We probably talked about them like in our Lost pilot episode, thinking about it, because it was right at the time to talk about what other band but Wintersun.
Yes, the famous and infamous Wintersun. After so much time and so much hype and so much crowdfunding and strange videos of Yari, it is finally here. Time 2. About nearly 20 years after its original recording, it can finally be released.
It's such an incredible story. Like
the story of the album is far more interesting than the album itself.
Yeah, that's the review.
Which is both a credit and a discredit to it, I suppose.
Yeah, man, it's so weird to finally get it. It feels wrong that it actually came out.
Yeah, it's like it's what I think the funniest thing about this is that for me, Time 2 sounds pretty similar to Time 1.
It does.
You know, from 12 years ago. Like, it's similar in structure, similar in style. Like, yeah, it's got the like, atmospheric Japanese twiddly stuff for, like, the interludes. You got the big, dramatic, symphonic death metal stuff. And, you know, it really is similar to Time 1.
It's just like...
I don't think...
It's just like, do you remember Duke Nukem Forever?
Of course, yeah.
It happened, it's the exact same thing. When it actually came out, it was like 10 years out of its time.
Yeah, I don't think we need to recount the entire time saga of what got us to this point, but to really just dive into this album itself. I know when we talked about the crowdfunding earlier this year, I was like, oh, I'm excited to hear a studio version of The Way of the Fire and Storm, the song that they had played live.
Yeah.
And honestly, I like those songs. I'm happy to have gotten a live or a proper version of them. They do all the like big winter sunny things, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to finally have this so I can just listen to it. That's not like, 2012 iPhone quality version of Way of the Fire. So thank God for that.
Yeah, actually, like I don't know if you guys know, but I'm not that big was never that big into Wintersun. I just followed the story along. So I wasn't like listening to the live version of the songs.
Yeah,
that
as opposed to me, I was really into Wintersun. They were one of my first like harsh vocals bands I got into in like I think 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there when like Time was still just like a joke. It was never going to come out. And then finally they announced part 1. I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing. And that came out my senior year of high school, and I listened to it like nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
And so I super loved Time 1. And so this just brings me back to this nostalgic time of high school, I guess.
Yeah, I don't have that, but I still listen to the album. I had listened to Time 1 once, I think, many years ago. And I gotta say, and this is, we talked about a demo that Jari released some time ago in the show, before there was any sight that the album was actually going to come out. And I remember that I mentioned it sounded really good. Technically speaking, because a lot of the story involved in this album is about sound quality and recording quality and being able to do whatever
like
you
normally
want.
I don't like to be like a big production-y guy, but like when like the main justification for why this album took so long was like the production and editing side of it, I feel like it is kind of fair game to be overly criticized. Now, I am fine with the mixing of this album. I know you have qualms, and some of our friends did too, so I'll let you take that away.
Yeah, so first of all, it's not really bad. It's pretty good. But it's not 10 years, however, $750,000
euros or whatever.
dollars good. It's not that. This, I think, very easily, this could have been released a long time ago in a very similar level of quality. There's a very big thing with diminishing returns when you go pursue audio quality. Money starts going up a lot and results start going up very, very little. There's actually a couple annoying issues with this album. I consider them issues for myself and a lot of people, which is that listening to the whole album in one go is really tiring. It really slams your ears, especially with the drums. The kick drum, the snare drum are so loud, so much louder than anything else in any of the songs. By the time I got to Silver Leaves, I could not appreciate the song because I just had a headache. I think that's a problem. And it's not something that was worth spending all the time and resources in.
That's just how immersive and brutal it is. Like you're just too weak to handle Yari's package, man.
Yeah, I just have normal human biology, so there's not that much I can do. Actually listening to it later, having rested my ears and everything, Silver Leaves, it's pretty cool. So it felt doubly bad that in the first go I couldn't enjoy it.
I think overall the album does feel like just kind of bloated. Like all of the like interlude things, like the 3 minutes worth of sounds at the end of Storm or whatever. Yeah, like you're trying to do an RT thing. Okay, fine. I don't think it's necessary, and it's not really worth it. It's like there's a lot of points where I'm just kind of skipping along to the next like normal song. Just call me boring, but that's kind of how I feel about this.
I think that even though there's it's clearly not bad. Like we can clown on the crowdsourcing ways and the promotion that this has and Jari's post on Facebook. It's not really bad. There's cool songwriting here. There's cool arrangements, but there's no restraint. There's no restraint either. And that's something, I think it's something that we bring up more and more when we review albums, that you musicians, you can leave stuff in the cutting room floor. It helps your product. You need to like rein it back because you'll lose us.
So an interesting thing about all of this, so they did the Time package with all these bonuses with like demos and stuff. And I haven't gone and listened to like all the extra stuff in there. But one of the things I did listen to was something that they called the Fantasy Metal Project, which is this thing that Yari, I think, like wrote and made demos for in like the late 90s or something when he was still with like Ensiferum. And it's like a more power metal-y style project, kind of like in the vein of old Ensiferum, but with these like really old school, like really simplistic synths going on. And I gotta say, the Fantasy Metal Project, probably better than Time 2.
Wow.
Like, I would recommend listening to that, like, over this. You know, okay, take the 2 good songs from Time 2, and then also listen to the Fantasy Metal Project, because there's some cool, like, ripping stuff on there. It's like 25 years old worth of music, but I'm glad it's out there now.
Cool. That's there you go. A cool recommendation from Kyle.
Yeah, there's the real recommendation. Yeah. I think he's got other demos and stuff that I didn't listen. The legendary Lost demos, whatever he called it. I haven't listened to that yet, but the Fantasy Metal stuff was cool.
Nice. I didn't know.
There's like 10 minutes worth of just like instrumental, like power metal-y shredding stuff. I'm like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, I didn't go into the whole Time package. I just listened to Time 2. A couple of our friends listened also to the remix of Time 1 that makes it sound like Time 2.
Oh, yeah, I didn't do that.
And they think that it makes sense. It's okay. And it makes it more obvious that they are one album, just one long album.
Which is the point.
Which was the original.
Sense.
Yeah. It still blows my mind that some of the actual recordings used are from way back then, from the one session.
Yeah, I loved seeing the interviews with like Timo and Kai.
Yeah,
you're like, oh man, this stuff. Oh yeah, that was forever ago. Nice for it to finally be out.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Honestly, I still think that we didn't get all that time and effort. We didn't get that back.
Is it worth it at this point? And obviously, the answer is no. But I'm just glad it's out there and we can all move on and everything can just be normal with Wintersun, right?
I think that in general, if you like Wintersun, you'll probably enjoy 2 or 3 songs of this in your general listening. But that's it.
Yeah, if you're of the mind that like, oh, I wish it was like the first album, which is just like straight up like pure mellow death stuff. It's not that.
Yeah,
Yari definitely moved on from that after that album.
Yeah, but
hey, if you like Time 1, you like Time 2.
Yes, that's a solid assessment. But that's Time 2. We finally got to it. It's been out for 2 months. We just didn't have an episode at the right time to talk about it, but we wanted to talk about it from the moment it came out.
It just wasn't the right time.
It just wasn't the right time. But what is the right time for is, if I can find the list, is Vision Divine.
Yes, the Blood and Angels Tears. I've been really looking forward to a new Vision Divine album because I like their most recent one with Ivan Giannini, and so this one I felt like took forever. But when we finally got the promotional copy for it, I'm like, oh man, this is just some sick Euro power metal. I quite like this album. I think I've tempered on it a bit with follow-up listens, but the good songs, which I'd say is most of the album or half the album, are pretty banging. Like, you've got speed, you've got shredding, you've got cool keyboard stuff. It's what you'd want from a classic Euro power metal album.
Yeah, I listened to only 2 songs of this. Sorry, I couldn't listen to the whole thing yet, and I think it follows nicely Vision Divine from the previous album. I know that for a lot of people, the previous album, only the one single was good, and they didn't pay attention to the rest. It is a bit of a shame that
like the best song that this era of Vision Divine had, which was Angel of Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
All of their other stuff is good, but it's never hit that level.
Yeah, it's not that high, but I think that it's still good power metal. Still good to listen to, right? But trust Kyle definitely more than me, because he actually listened to the full album. I'm sorry.
A few times, yes.
See? A few times. That's incredible. That's a lot. That's dedication.
Yeah, I think if I had to give you a few recommendations for tracks, the first one, Ballet of Blood and Angel's Tears, is great. Once Invincible and Drink Our Blood. Like, basically the whole intro is great.
Mm.
And then the I think one of the I think it's Praise is the one with the Gas or the Broken Pass, one of those. Because this is a concept album.
Of course.
Which is, so it's part one of a story. And I actually went through the lyrics on one of my listen throughs. Basically, it's about these three angels that got cast out of heaven for their like indecisiveness, like when it came to like killing demons or something. And then so they get cast out to Earth, and living on Earth really sucks. And then at one point, their followers that they have, because they're immortal, they like have them drink their blood to become immortal too. And then they kind of skip over that, even though it sounds really sketchy. And then it turns out that like something is hunting these angel dudes. And then they reunite. And then the part where they reunite is with a song with all the guests where they come together and each one portrays one of the angels, which is, you know, a nice little touch. And then because it's just part one, the story doesn't really resolve. They're just like, oh man, something's fucking us up. We gotta band together and do something. And then they have existential drama, and we'll see what happens next.
We'll see what happens next. Cool. We got the lore and everything. The podcast is delivering.
Yes. You know, hey, the old tagline of news, reviews, lore, and more. You know,
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Remember that? Damn.
I do like that tagline.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, it is. Which I hope, the thing that I hope is also pretty cool is the other album that you listened to, which is Return of the Heralds by Krilloan.
Yes. So Krilloan are a band that are very explicitly trying to evoke the classic power metal of the 90s and 2000s. That's it, which is literally what they say in their like in their Spotify bio. So, you know, it's just pure power metal. You're going fast, you're riffing, you got the high vocals, you got stuff based off of fantasy novels, as the name might suggest. Clearly, it's talking about the Return of the Heralds from the Stormlight Archive. You knew that. Of course you did.
Of course, sure.
And their first album also had a song about Stormlight on it. And honestly, I think their songs about Stormlight are their best songs. So maybe I just, you know, have like that extra good association with, but more maybe they feel extra inspired when they're writing those. But hey, you know, it works. Nice. And overall, I like this album. I think it's interesting putting it next to Vision Divine here, because these are both sort of like, Vision Divine's obviously been around for much longer, but they both kind of fall into that like more like old school Euro power styling. I think Return of the Heralds, it's pretty similar to Krilloan's first album, which I believe is called Emperor Rising. So it's not really developing, it's not breaking any boundaries on what power metal is, but I had a good time listening to it. I've done a run through it a few times. I think top tracks probably be Atlantean Sword, Return of the Heralds, and We Burn, just giving you like a nice little sampling of just straight up good time power metal.
Nice. You know, all this talk about Stormlight Archive reminds me, this was not planned, but very soon after the release of this podcast, hopefully, the acoustic version of Eons Enthroned song, the acoustic version of the Eons Enthroned song Stormless should be out with a nice little video, which I've been working on.
A video you've been literally dying to produce.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been eating me up. I don't know how to make videos. I am winging this, and that's not something that I recommend anyone do. And I will not do it anymore. But it's our little Stormlight Archive song, which is, I don't know, it's one of our most popular songs. We did it a long time ago, and we thought, hey, an acoustic version of a song would be cool. And this is the easiest one to convert into an acoustic song. Let's go for it. Yeah.
And they're like, hey, let's turn it into a video. It'll be fine.
Yeah, let's just make the video a bit harder.
Just knock it out.
Let's record outside. And now it's like 8 people across 3 continents trying to make a video work. This is not a good idea.
You see, kids, this is a lesson in scope creep.
Yeah.
And how it's the death of indie projects.
Yes.
And bigger projects too.
And yeah, but it's almost done. And it should be out soon after you listen to this episode. So
and hey, the 5th Stormlight book is coming out soonish, so you can just put that on while you read that.
Yeah, exactly. See? It works perfectly. What doesn't work that perfectly is the other album that I actually did listen to, which is one of those albums that you hear about. Yeah, it's finally coming out. Blah 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 blah. It's Yesterwind by Nightwish. I'm never sure how to say this. I've
seen them pronounce it Yesterwind and Yesterwind.
Yeah,
I have a feeling.
Me too.
I want to say Yesterwind. It might actually be Yesterwind because that sounds way more pretentious.
It sounds
like winding a clock.
Yeah, I thought about winding the clock. The album art is like that spiral, the stock image with the clock, the Roman numerals, and it's like, yeah, winding back the clock or whatever. So this album, we are coming to Nightwish from what even was the name of the previous album? Like
Human
to nature with the symbols. It was peak pretentiousness in the title, and now some of us hoped that maybe they would rein it in, bring it back to have at least a couple more songs, not just 2, and then whatever Thomas is doing.
We're really doubling down on albums from Finnish bands that are headed up by a guy whose head is way too far up his own ass.
Yeah. So and this is not about the style of music, because not to sound pretentious, but I like the orchestral stuff, and I listen to some classical music and contemporary classical, which is fucking hard to listen to sometimes. But this, honestly, this whole album, it just goes by and you don't realize it's so inoffensive, and it goes both ways. It's not annoying like sometimes the previous one got.
Well, it's less boring than Human Nature.
It's less boring than Human Nature.
So I'll give it that.
But so we are in a step back from that, but we didn't go enough into like give me some hooks, some bangers, something to remember. Because honestly, listening the first time through, I had no idea. Like, did I listen to the Nightwish album? I don't remember anything.
Even the songs I like, which I would mostly put as An Ocean of Strange Islands and The Children of Ada, even those, like, after I'm done listening to them, I don't think I remember anything about them, other than just being like, oh yeah, that was kind of cool.
I don't know. It's like, I remember just playing it through and it goes into the orchestral versions on streaming. And then it's like, oh, was it still going or did it autoplay to something else? Like, what's going on? Oh, it's just, I'm halfway.
I haven't actually listened to the orchestral versions because
it's just nothing.
The regular album is over an hour, and by the time I get to the end of it, I'm like, all right, are we done with this? Okay, let's move on. I do not have the patience to go and do the whole symphonic or orchestral version. Yeah,
honestly, I had let it autoplay and then drifted off to do something else while it was playing. So yeah, I don't know. I just came back to check, like, was the autoplay going to something else? But it's just, I don't know. It was background music. So it's not great. Can't say, like, I don't know. Obviously, if you're a Nightwish fan, you probably love this. That's fine. I have no issues with you.
I feel like I always see the people complaining that, like, Floor isn't like forward enough in the mix, that she gets like buried out. Which I guess that's a fair criticism, because like that's like what all the fucking like YouTube reaction people are there for, there for Floor Jansen, and to like take like what might be the most recognizable or like currently strongest aspect of your band and I kind of put that on the back burner seems kind of stupid. But who am I to judge two of us here? Yeah,
to be honest, I've seen. It was interesting seeing when the first singles of the album came out, seeing the general discourse of people talking, not just within our bubble, but
the general discourse.
I peeked into Facebook and Reddit and see what people were talking about, and people were so angry because why are the vocals so hard to listen to? Blah 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 blah. And I get that criticism. I don't think it was an outright technical mistake.
I think it's a choice to just kind of blend it in more.
I think there's a choice made artistically on the arrangement, but I think, and this is something that I still haven't been able to check, which annoys me, because one step backward. Let's bring it back up. This album was announced to come out also as I forgot the name.
Dolby Atmos?
Yeah, it was coming out in Dolby Atmos. So there's going to be a normal version, the stereo version for all of us normal people, and then the Dolby Atmos mix, which is, for those that don't know, it's a multi-channel thing. Like, remember when you had home theaters and you had like 5.1 with 5 speakers around you? You can have 7, 12, whatever. It supports a bunch of things. It's a delivery format where the audio stream has audio chunks in objects in space, and depending on what set of speakers you plug it into, you're playing through, it adapts those sounds in space to play on the appropriate speakers around you. So you get this surround experience, and that's cool. Always, like, Luca did it forever ago. We look at release Rhapsody or one, maybe not look at release Rhapsody, one of his crazy
Prometheus
albums.
Whatever
Prometheus.
That one was.
Yeah. And other bands do it. It's been more and more popular because Tidal and Apple Music support it. But not everyone
listening to this, right?
So you can listen to it on 2 speakers if you want. The format supports that. It just adapts to whatever number of speakers you have. If you want to play it through one mono speaker on Bluetooth, you can. But you still need something that decodes it. And it's not all phones do it. And sometimes it's not a hardware thing. It's a licensing thing. Whatever hardware plays Dolby Atmos has to pay to Dolby to use it. I have Tidal, which is the streaming service that has high quality, blah, 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 things for all the nerds. Of course. And you can listen through it supports Dolby Atmos if you have a Samsung phone or an iPhone.
Oh, I have a Samsung phone.
So you could pay and try it, except that Nightwish.
I don't care that much.
But Nightwish has not put the album in Dolby Atmos on Tidal. It only put it out through Apple Music or whatever it's called now. iTunes Music. I don't remember the name. I think it's Apple Music now. So the only way to listen to it in Dolby Atmos without buying, I think they released it physically. I haven't checked, but and that involves having a bunch of other hardware. You have to be on Apple Music. Instantly, I cannot listen to that because I don't have a single Apple thing. I don't have Apple Music. I am not getting to listen to this album. I've read some reviews of people that say that listening to it through their phones on Dolby Atmos with headphones, it sounds very different. They can hear the vocals more clearly and everything makes much more sense. And I've seen like several in different spots from different people, not a lot of people saying the contrary. So it makes sense. It's probable that they have some focus on the way they were doing the Dolby mix and a different point of view and a different focus, or someone else was doing the stereo release, and something suffered because they didn't pay special attention to how the things interact in the different delivery formats, which sucks because most people will listen to the quotes bad version of the album.
Yeah, and like 99.9% of the people are going to listen to the regular version.
Yeah, and the worst part is like the reason is really you're pricing out people, and that really sucks.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, it's the worst. This happened. It wasn't as bad, but some months ago when the new Beatles song came out, That was released in Dolby Atmos as well, but it was available everywhere that plays Atmos, so I could listen to it on my old Samsung phone on Tidal. And it had some changes to the mix that made it much better than the regular stereo version, but some other choices that made it much more annoying. So also, it's like completely different versions sometimes. And that might be the case here. That might help it on that aspect. But all of this talk that I just gave really doesn't help the composition and arrangement. It's still kind of bland. So, whatever. I just wanted to talk about the tech stuff.
Of course.
Of course.
A good old Fernando becoming an unskippable cutscene when you mention one of these.
An unskippable cutscene. You couldn't. The others can skip it. You're the only one that suffers. So
that's
fine.
Right. Yeah, your podcast app has skip buttons.
Yeah,
fuck.
We have the chapters. So
normally people just use that to skip sponsors, and but here you can use it to skip Darko rants.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what you shouldn't skip is the next album that we're gonna talk about, which is Galneryus. The Stars Will Light the Way.
I love that.
I like that. The album art, it's very nice, I want to say, but it also we can find a high quality version of it. It looks so grainy everywhere, but it's also so nice. But anyway,
overall, like the title, the artwork of the beautiful golden dragon, the music, obviously the important part. I think this is one of my favorite albums of the year so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I know. I think I'm attached to Galneryus. They're obviously one of the most, we'll say, consistent bands in power metal. Their album their previous album, I guess it was just last year. It was early last year, I think. Something felt off on that one for me, but this one I think is a great return to form, where it's just big songs, the crazy guitar stuff, all the stuff you love from Galneryus. It is here.
Yes, I remember when the previous album came out between Red and Baylor. It was honestly annoying to listen to because the guitars were super loud, and that has been corrected here. Maybe it could go a bit. There's some more tweaks to do, but this is a really nice album. This is I know that some people are sick of Galneryus because they are so consistently consistent that they don't feel there's like a high to really get excited about.
They've had a lot of like high highs throughout their career.
Yeah.
And I don't think they always reach that point. Or people just say, oh yeah, Angel of Salvation's so fucking sick, dude. And yeah, it is so fucking sick. And they're not doing that level of music on every album. But there's a lot of stuff here that I really like. The first real track, The Reason We Fight, I think is one of my most listened to songs from this year.
Nice choice. I'd say
it's a good one.
It's a good one. I like most of them. I want to say I don't think I have a new classic Galneryus song out of these to add to my playlist. But I still listen to this a lot. Like it's just good.
Voice and Sadness, towards the end is another one I thought had some like really cool, like almost like folksy guitar melodies going on.
Yeah,
just like some other like little tweaks they're making to the Galneryus formula there that I really liked.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to them trying more stuff because like Galneryus has historically integrated some stuff from other styles, but mostly it's just jazz stuff, which is what most Japanese bands do. But getting some little other flavors is nice. They should do that more. They should need to do it more. Also, random shout out. We need to check out that Blu-ray, the live Blu-ray that's coming out, because it's the show that we went to.
Oh yeah.
So there's a small chance that you hear me screaming on that Blu-ray as the only Latin American in a Japanese show, which are so quiet it's uncomfortable.
When they put up a clip from that Blu-ray, and I was looking like, are we in here? I was like, is that the back of Fernando's head? it looks that's like the angle we were at, and it looks a foot taller than everyone else, so it might be. I was looking too. They don't show the audience directly in that one, but
yeah, I was like, yeah, let's check it out. Are we there? We should stick out enough.
Yeah, right. Hey, there were like 2 other gaijins at the show with us.
There was a couple more, but not that many. What a good show. Good memories. It would be nice to have it as an actual Blu-ray. So they were actually,
nice
we saw the
Galneryus
cameras. They were actually filming for the thing. We suspected it, but we didn't know if it was a standard or not.
Yeah, I really hope they play more international shows. It doesn't really seem to be their thing.
Man, it's just that it's this. It drives me nuts because Japan is so. I don't know what's the term to use here properly, but it's like they are so satisfied with themselves. I think they never seem to think in any media. They never seem to give 1 second of thought to any international audiences ever. And it drives me nuts. They could have been touring internationally for so long. They had that one show in Mexico that was so insane, and nothing else. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's amazing that they actually played Prague Power. Like, I'm happy that like we talked about Love Bites on the last episode, and they were doing like a quote unquote world tour, and like, but I'm like, hey, they're doing something.
Yeah. That's much better than most bands have ever done. Like, Japan did a proper world tour, but they did it like 20 years late. It's so crazy to think about. But anyways, that's it. Galneryus is good. Big
Galneryus
surprise.
Good. A big surprise.
I know this doesn't add much to anyone. If you like Galneryus, you like this, and you probably already listened to it. If you don't like Galneryus, tough luck.
What's wrong with you?
It's fine. Just you have other stuff to listen to. If you haven't been checking Galneryus out since Angel of Salvation, you can jump in at any time. It will be fine. You want to jump in now to this album? Go for it. You will probably enjoy it.
You're like, oh, Beetlejuice or the Brutal Spiral of Emotions, or what else they got? Vengeance. I think there's a Vengeance one, I think. Jump in anywhere. It's fine.
Anywhere, it's fine. It works. It just works. That's great. Now, something that I'm not sure apparently it works because
yes, we're gonna go into
I want to hear
the deep dark trenches of weird Bandcamp stuff.
How does this work? How is Curta'n Wall? I don't even know how to pronounce the album name.
I don't know either. And I should have probably looked it up, but I didn't.
Is it supposed to be like
it's probably some old English or Welsh.
So it's probably like Irgundval.
There's going to be some letters in here that don't make the sounds you expect them to.
You're right. Yeah, I don't know. So
that's how these old English things work.
Yeah. So this is funny. So, before you go into it, I want to put some context in. Of our group of friends, sure. I'm the only one that has now been listening to this band nonstop for the past couple, however long it's been. I am the other one out, so I need you now to actually sell it to me properly. Why should I keep playing on this?
You didn't? Did you listen to their first album last year?
No, nothing.
Okay, so that's good because it gives you an equal, playing field with the audience. So really dig in. Let's talk about this band, Curta'n Wall. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's curtain with an apostrophe of replacing the I.
Yeah.
This is a quote unquote one man with a lot of help project by Grindstone Records, which is just like a very underground metal thing, I think out of the Bay Area, that does a bunch of stuff on Bandcamp. Now, the Grindstone Records does a whole bunch of projects, but this one, Curta'n Wall, started up, I think, a couple of years ago. Their first big album was last year, and they're a very odd band. I think they're best described as a mixture of folk and black metal, but they're so goofy and odd with such a wide range of instrumentation and vocal styles that it's one of those things you really just have to listen to it to believe it. It has so much character, so much that it is very distinctly itself, which anyone who can do that, in 2024,
that's impressive.
Props.
Yeah.
Yes. So their first album, I think, was very divisive or abrasive, one might say. But I think they've toned that down for the most recent album, which is I can't pronounce it. I am sorry. Just look up Curta'n Wall folk metal bandcamp. You'll find it by Grindstone Records. And so for this album, I think they've sanded down the edges a little bit. It's more folksy, a little less of the janky black metal stuff, which I think some people really wanted that janky black metal stuff and aren't as excited about the folk stuff. However, I am. I really like this album. This is another one I've listened to a bunch, which it's a strange album. By far the strangest one we're talking about on this episode or most episodes. But if you love weird folk stuff that goes harder than it really has any right to, while also throwing in, you got the soft female vocals, those like the mystical melodies and atmosphere with like horns and strings and tooting and also growling and then these sort of like gruff gang vocals getting you like, oh, your mates at the pub are gonna go sack the castle or something. That's what the vibe that this band and this album are really going for.
I see.
Does this make sense as someone who's never listened to Curta'n Wall?
It does, but mostly because I've been immersed on all of you talking about it for a long time now.
Yeah.
Like I heard like the phrase "the most fortified fortress known to man" is burned into my brain.
The most fortified fortress in the land, which it's a. I know I can't sing. I'm sorry, but it's so stupid, but it works.
Yeah, okay.
And by God,
okay.
Like Fernando, you like music.
I like music.
You should check
yeah,
this out.
I will. I know. I will. I have. I just have this thing where a lot of people suddenly at the same time start talking about one thing, makes me instantly.
But it's only in our like. It's only in our social like.
Yeah, but
20 people on Discord.
Yeah, but it's
not in any way like a mainstream.
I know.
Like, well-known
I know.
about thing.
That doesn't matter. Like you are. I spend all my time talking with you guys. Like.
No, I'm sorry.
But I will listen to all of these albums and get up with the memes and be up with the vibe.
The extremely limited memes.
I gotta say, I like the album art of all these albums.
Yeah, we're just like a dude in armor with like low quality artwork.
Yeah, but it's still very well done. That's the thing that gets me.
It's that polished shittiness that I think we kind of go for.
Yes.
They've got the same thing going on here.
Yeah, exactly. Like the album art to Crocodile Moat with whatever many exclamation points he has. That's good album art. All of these are good.
And Siege obsessed with the O turned into a U because why not?
Yeah, it's good. Okay. I will listen to it. The people listening should listen to it as well. You're gonna have a good time.
My favorite song on here, I think, is "Murder Hole," which, why not?
Yeah, nice.
I also like Hillfort, Drake That Guards the Gold, and I think is the name of that other one. That's a good one. I like this whole album. There's nothing I dislike because I just think it's such a vibe. I really dig it.
Nice. Now, speaking of vibes, or maybe I don't want to be mean. Speaking of vibes, so another album, I listened to this. Frozen Crown, War Hearts. We've been talking about Frozen Crown since they showed up. Right? We reviewed their first singles and first album and the videos they had. I remember that time. And it feels like it hasn't been that long since the previous album, right?
No, they kind of crank these out.
Yeah, they're cranking them out, which is nice. They've been changing lineups. They have a cool live set lineup. You actually saw them, right? Recently?
Yeah, they were at Prague Power for the first American show. They were okay.
Right. So I think this album has some cool moments. It has some cool riffs, but also a lot of could have left it out, or we could have, I don't know, gonna be further. I like Edge of Reality is the song where I think the album peaks. It has cool
That
riffs.
was one of my favorites too, yeah.
Yeah, it has cool riffing. It has cool melodies and cool vibes, but after that, it feels like it's repeating itself. It doesn't really shine that much. Again, like there's 10 songs. I think you could have just done 6 and work on the next good ones whenever you have time. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's okay. It's consistent in a different way than Galneryus, because I think Frozen Ground has been very consistent, but not that high up in the scale.
Yeah, they're a band that's always like consistently decent to all right. I think I like this album better than the previous one, Call of the North.
I do.
I'm pretty sure I only listened to Call of the North like once, maybe twice, and I remembered nothing from it. Whereas when I was going through this one, which I've only listened to once so far, just because it just came out yesterday, I was feeling like I was having more fun with this than the last one. So I'm happy to see a slight trend upward. I still feel like they aren't quite hitting as good as they could.
Mm-hmm.
I think they also... One of the things that really bothers me about the way Frozen Crown has gone is that their first album, I think, demonstrated a pretty strong variety of songs, and they've never really been able to follow it up quite the same way, where it feels like they're kind of falling into the same rhythms over and over again.
Yeah, there's a bit of like they constructed a box they are not stepping out of at all in any way.
Yeah, I wish they played around with style a bit more, played around with the different vocals, because they have songs that will have more male vocals or they'll incorporate harsh vocals, and I think balancing those different sides a bit better would help them go a bit further, at least for me.
Yeah, same. I think exactly the same as you. So if you've never listened to Frozen Crown, this is the first time you hear about them, you should check it out because you might like it. Check out this album. Like just jump right in with this one, and then go from here and see what you like.
Yeah, I liked the first couple singles they put for this one. Like I think it was War Hearts, the title track, and then Steel and Gold, which they also played that one live at Prague Power, and that was a fun one. So they can do it. I believe in them. I want to believe in them. Somehow they've gotten 5 fucking albums in like 6 years.
Yeah, like they actually they clearly put in the work. Like this is they're not slacking.
No, not at all. Plus they have other projects.
They tour, they have free guitar players now. It's like, it's a whole thing. So
yeah,
I'd say keep at it. Just try to break that box a little bit, or just make it bigger and try some other sounds. Shake it up. You gotta shake it up, Frozen Crown.
Yeah, like we talked about Galneryus being consistent. I think the Frozen Crown's also consistent, but I think they're just at different levels.
Yeah, it's just that it's different absolute values, but they are consistent. Right. So if you know that if you like Frozen Crown, you probably like this album. So good for you, Frozen Crown fans. And again, I think Edge of Reality is the one cool song if you're gonna just give it a try with one song. And we have also on this list of albums another album that it's definitely not my style. This is all for you.
For the last album, we'll bring it full circle and talk about Ensiferum. Full circle because we started with Wintersun.
No, I know. Yeah.
For who and Yari used to be in Wintersun or in Ensiferum in a bygone age.
Yeah. I'm not that clueless. I get it.
Okay, just making sure. So Ensiferum, not power metal, but enough of a crossover appeal that I say fuck it. Like you said at the start of the episode, close enough.
Yeah.
Ensiferum, their first, I'd say 4 albums are pretty like legendary, like fundamentals of folk metal, if you ask me. Like, that is some good fucking shit. Ever since then, they've been really hit and miss for me, where it's like, oh yeah, that sounds like Ensiferum, but it never feels as inspired as those old days. And maybe that's bias or nostalgia or whatever, but I feel like I don't think you've listened to much Ensiferum. I think if you put on like Iron and then this new album, you'd believe me.
Okay, sure.
But anyway, as far as the new album Winter Storm goes, it's all right. Pretty much every Ensiferum album in the back half of their career has had like consistently maybe like 2-3 songs where I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool, and then I just kind of move on. And that is exactly what we have here as well.
Oh no.
Where it's like, okay, this is a 43-minute album. There's 10 songs on it. 3 of those 10 songs are interludes. And then like another like half of them are like slow or ballads or whatever. So I'm like, there's not a lot of meat here to latch onto. I liked the first single, Winter Storm Vigilantes, I thought was good. Liked Fatherland. The last quick one there at the end, Victorious, was fun. But this is another band where I do feel like they're just kind of going through the motions, and I'm not feeling the inspiration so much.
That sucks.
There's nothing flashy about it, Like I'll put it on and like I don't hate it, but
that's really a shame. That's a shame.
I hate always being that guy. Like, those old albums, those are the better ones. But it's like I'd stop saying it if it stopped being true. Yeah. I know it's hard sometimes when you think that, and like we sometimes we have to think, or at least I do it. Like make sure that is it really this, or is it just that I'm not 10 years old anymore and it doesn't hit the same way. I was 15 when I got into Ensiferum.
Whatever the age is.
I was mature for my age.
But
and they only had the 4 albums at that point. So,
but this happens.
It's not fair.
Yeah.
But I from talking to a couple other friends of ours who are into Ensiferum, they had the same feelings of like, yeah, those first 4 albums are legendary. This other stuff is fine. That said, Ensiferum did announce a tour for the U.S. next year with some other folk stuff, and I loved their first live show that I went to a few years back. So I'll be hopefully trying to make it to that.
Okay.
Folk metal shows go hard. You know how it is.
Nice. Yeah. Shows are great. Sometimes going to a live show is the best way
speaking of shows,
to listen to your favorite album and your favorite artist. And I've been to a couple of shows recently that I want to talk about real quick. We're actually going over our time, but let's make it. It's worth it, I think, to make the episode. We had a lot of music to get through this time. It's been a while. Yeah, it has been a while. We cleared the backlog, but I want to talk about 2 shows that I went to here in the magical lands of Argentina. First of all, I went to see Fabio Lione to one of his solo shows. This is not the first time he does this in Latin America. I know this might surprise some of the North American listeners, and I'm not sure if he ever did it in Europe, but from time to time he has just showed up, done a couple of shows. He assembles a backing band. Sometimes it's a band that comes to play with him. Sometimes it's just, it's for this one show. And this was a little Rio de la Plata tour. So it was the Buenos Aires, Uruguay, Chile side of things. It was so good. Such a good show. Everyone that's going next year to Epic Fest, they're going to have something similar where Fabio is playing exclusively Rhapsody songs.
Yeah,
with a backing band.
Victory, like Rhapsody cover band.
Yeah, but I think isn't it?
But the show you went to wasn't just Rhapsody; it was like a variety, right?
Exactly, because it was Fabio just being Fabio, which is like he's such a good vocalist, right? I think we can all agree that he's good at singing.
Power metal fans, They do tend to be okay with him showing up here and there.
Yeah, like the most featured
he's
artist.
Elusive, that Fabio, hard to nail down.
The most featured artist in the whole genre by a decent amount. He did a 20-song set list at the show. This was back in September here in Buenos Aires. We have Rhapsody songs. We have Iron Maiden songs. Whitesnake, Camelot, a Bruce Dickinson solo cover, Vision Divine, Scorpions, Angra, of course, Europe, Queen. This is
all in one set.
This is all in one set. This is just Fabio singing songs, some that the audience wants, and a lot that he just likes. And you can tell. This is Fabio having his own little traveling karaoke show with a really tight, great backing band. I couldn't find out who the band is that was doing the backing for him, but they were great because they could go through this super varied set without a hitch. They handled all the songs. This was a relatively small venue, like 600 capacity. And man, amazing show. You have no idea.
I've just looked over the set list again, and I refuse to believe that this is real.
This is what we get being a good audience. We get
this is your compensation for your fucked up economy.
Yes, exactly. This show was so expensive. It was, I think it was all in all it's $65 equivalent, roughly, doing quick maths. And for a show in a small venue like this, all shows at that price now here. It's a bit expensive for us. That's many meals. But man, you just go into
You don't need to eat when you got Fabio, man. You're eating good there.
You're just there. The band Inner Force opened for him. They are fine. They weren't having a great day that day, but they're cool. And then it's just like, let's play Dawn of Victory. Poof. And now Wasted Years. And Judgment Day. Forever from Camelot. Tears of the Dragon by Bruce Dickinson. You Give Love a Band Name. Send Me an Angel from Vision Divine.
They have just
Violet
random
Loneliness.
80s one hit type of things in here.
It's the karaoke hits. And Fabio does them in his own style. And he mentioned, for many of these songs, he spoke how much he loves Bruce Dickinson. And that's why he loves singing Iron Maiden. And his solo stuff, Tears of the Dragon, he said he likes it a lot. And how he's always looked up to Dickinson as a vocalist. And then You Give Love a Bad Name is just a fun song to sing. And he can actually hit the key change at the end. So it's like, yeah, sure. Go for it. We're having a great time. The Vision Divine songs is like, dude, I cannot believe I got to hear this live here. Land of Immortals of Rhapsody and The Village of Dwarves, Wisdom of the Kings. Then another Maiden song, The Evil That Men Do, Still Loving You by Scorpions. And then the Angra set, Nova Era, Rebirth.
Hell yeah.
And of course, the final countdown. We were just having such a great time. We were all in into it, singing along. The Show Must Go On by Queen, just completely owning that song. That's so good.
How long of a show was this?
It's pretty long. I left at midnight, so it was 2 hours, probably. Yeah, it started at 9:05. So yeah, I was 2.5 hours probably. It says here
2.5 hours of pure Fabio, just
almost 3 hours
for it.
Yeah, it's just, and he did Lamento Heroico. He can do that after all the previous 17 songs. It's amazing. Dude has the pipes. There's no arguing.
You closed with Holy Thunder Force and Emerald Sword.
Of course.
Damn.
No, it was absolutely amazing.
Do you remember a few years ago when you first saw Rhapsody down there?
Yes.
And it was like, oh, they open with Emerald Sword. And you're just like, damn, this is fucking sick.
It was absolutely awesome. That was the Rhapsody reunion tour in 2017, actually. It was like, we have barely started talking for a while, that when I joined the Power Metal Discord. And it was like, this show is there. I'm like, oh, awesome. I knew of Rhapsody before, just from general osmosis. And I knew Emerald Sword, and I had heard a couple of the big songs like what's the name of the one of Power of the Dragon Flame and
Power of the Dragon Flame,
yeah,
Dawn of Victory.
Yeah, exactly. But just like from existing there, and then we're like, oh yeah, it's the show. I'm just gonna go to the Rhapsody reunion. Sure, and it's like, yeah, Epicus Furor, and then the guys jump into the stage. Bam! Emerald Sword, Wisdom of the Kings, Eternal Glory, Beyond the Gates of Infinity, Knight Rider of Doom, Wings of Destiny, The Dark Tower of Abyss, right in the Winds of Eternity, Symphony of Enchanted Lands.
You're going to be real excited for Epic Fest to just see another Rhapsody set.
and I was like, yeah, this is amazing. Like, I'm so happy that I managed to catch that. And it was like my first time seeing Rhapsody live, and it was literally one of the best possible shows. Amazing. And this Fabio show was just like delicious. Chef's kiss. And I wanted to mention another show that I went to. I went to see Dragonforce. They were finally back after 10 years. They haven't come to Buenos Aires. Of a gap. They actually skipped us one
they
tour.
Do tons of like American tours, but I guess they never go down there.
No, they did a couple Latin American tours, and they skipped Buenos Aires. They skipped Argentina, and it was so weird. And it's like, why? What are you doing? Why are you doing this to me, Dragonforce? So finally they come, and it's been. I think we talked about. I don't know if we talked about Dragonforce much outside of when we review the actual albums.
But I've talked about some of their live shows, I think.
Yeah.
And we've talked about the.
So lately, the live shows have a lot of people have been talking about the Dragonforce live shows being like, yeah, I think a lot of people think they are miming when they play, which is not a great thing when one of the selling points of your band is your technical prowess beyond the songs.
Right. It is a little weird.
So I went into this with this kind of like, I'm not sure if I should go or not. Am I going to be disappointed? I decided to actually go and not miss it. Missing it would be dumb. Because
it's so cool
really
just to like have the songs.
Yeah. So at the start of the show, the way they started the show with Revolution Death Squad and the pyro and everything, and mostly the energy of the people there, because like me, this was like 1,500 Dragonforce starved fans from the old days. Like there wasn't a lot of young people at the show. It was mostly 30 years old up. And yeah, I mean, 100%. It's mosh all the way. This is absolutely amazing. Then we got hit by Cry Thunder. Keep it going. Ashes of the Dawn. Keep it going. Power of the Triforce. Surprisingly, keep it going, because one of the upsides of being of having English as a second language is that most of the time we don't really parse the lyrics of these songs. So whatever, it just carry on the momentum of the previous songs. We got soldiers.
So when they did Power of the Triforce, did they throw the chickens out into the audience?
No. What?
They didn't do that bit. So during the last tour, the Zelda games have these chickens called cuckoos that are you can pick them up or attack them, and they're part of the game. So as part of their like live show gimmick, they took these like big like plush chickens and tossed them out into the crowd, kind of like how they do with like balls or inflatable things, except these weren't inflatable; they're like plushes. And they challenged us to like not rip it to shreds. And
that probably
the legs went missing.
That probably means that people will shred it. No, but I think I show you a picture. Like, it's a smaller stage. They don't have the full stage set up. They did have.
I was surprised at how small the stage was when you showed me, because like they play decent sized stages here.
Yeah, I was surprised too. I didn't remember this. So last time they played on the other venue that's a bit larger, on the Teatro de Flores, which is the usual one, and that's a slightly larger. This one is like the same building, but a bit smaller. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe maybe the reason they skipped is they didn't see that they were a big draw, but it was pretty full. I don't know. But they still had like basic pyro, which is surprising. I didn't think that was legal here. They didn't have fire, but they had sparklers, vertical sparklers that were really tall. And it was spectacular, but I felt a bit iffy about it because of some history we have here with that. But they had the confetti cannons or the little paper stuff, and they used them like 3 times, which I didn't expect.
They usually do it at like Highway to Oblivion or something. I think.
They used it like for us. I don't remember which song it was, but they used it so early. I felt like, what the fuck? Like the show isn't even halfway through for sure. And then they used it again and again, and it's like, okay, sure, give us the paper. We got Soldiers of the Wasteland. Man, that is a long song. When you are going full bills to the mosh, that's when you understand that it is the longest song, because it was a fucking marathon. I was so dead after this, because the way from the start, from Revolution, there's 5 songs in, and this song just keeps going, and you just keep going, and you want to sing, and you don't have any more oxygen in your lungs, and everything hurts, but you have to keep going. Everyone was having
You're really
such
getting
a
a
great
workout
time
at this fucking show here.
It was. I was so out of shape. Like, it's embarrassing. It hurt. Everything hurts. I actually got hit on the right under my left knee. That still hurts. But it was such a workout. Then we got The Last Dragonborn.
Rip.
And I can tell you, like, everyone was like, I get it that maybe it was 50-50, that people were super tired like me, but it was like, yeah, let's take a breather. The response to this song was just a flatline. Nobody gives a shit about this song. It's incredible. But
dude, it's about Skyrim. Don't you know Skyrim? It's a video game, dude.
It was obviously most of the audience was obviously older fans that like more classic Dragonforce.
I'm sure, yeah.
We got Blackfire. That was great. Fury of the Storm, great.
Awesome.
And then we get to, like, seriously, we got Doomsday Party.
I'm guessing that didn't go over well.
We've talked about this song before. We don't like it. I don't like it.
When I saw them perform that song, they I think before the song, they tried to get people to do the dance.
Yes.
And they just weren't having it. They
tried. That's when you know the song doesn't stand, because they have to try so hard to trick you into being active for it. Before they're not, it's like, everyone's here. And he's like, are you guys ready to dance? Like, does anyone like dancing? Argentinians are known for dancing, right? And like this whole blah, 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 this whole act. And people are like, let's see who dances worse or something. Like, how many women are in the audience? Those kind of things try to bait. And he's like, it was just a song. Dun, dun, dun. At least it has a beat, so you can move a bit to it. But nobody cared about that like they wanted to. We got Valley of the Damned, which I don't check setlist, so I was surprised because it felt really early, because last time I saw them, they closed with Valley of the Damned.
That's usually the one they do before the encore.
We have the same setlist almost. Than from your show. Then the encore, we got Highway to Oblivion, which is quite all right. It's a good song.
Of the newer Dragonforce songs, that one's better.
Yeah.
It does feel like one of those throwing the older fans a bone.
Yeah, I think
songs.
Ashes of the Dawn and Highway to Oblivion are good songs. I like them. I enjoy them as a classic fan. But then we got the covers. I don't get why they do both. Why do they do both covers on these live shows?
Those go off in America.
They don't go off here as much. Like, My Heart Will Go On, it was like, okay, people like it. But they had they have to hype it up, right? And then the Wildest Dreams one, I was blindsided by it. I think some other people were as well. Because I assume that here there's a lot of people that went to that show that haven't listened to any album past the fourth one. But he was talking about, I felt this is something that annoyed me. Because Herman went to mention, like, we usually talk, and this has been happening through the show, and this happens at every show, like, we in Argentina are very proud about being the best fans in the world. We are the loudest. We sing along all the time. We do everything better. That's how we roll. So they bring it up. They mentioned that they played in Chile, like the day before or something like that. And everyone's like, boo, no, go Argentina.
Yeah, I mean, that's like when here they're like, oh, you guys have to be better than Boise, Idaho. And it's like, of course we're better than Boise, Idaho. We're California.
Yeah, but here this is like, it's an old meme, the Argentina-Chile rivalry. And he's like, well, last night Chile gave us the fastest mosh pit, he mentions. And everyone's like, oh, no, you guys had to give us the fastest mosh pit now. Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Did you get the fastest mosh pit then?
And they play Wild Streams, the Taylor Swift cover. And it's not even an interesting cover. And I don't know, like some people did the fastest beat, they just tell people to go in circles, which is the most boring kind of beat. And a couple people did it in the middle, but yeah, a lot of people were just like, what's his song?
Is Taylor Swift less of less of an icon?
No,
a cultural institution there.
I don't know. Like, I don't know really. I'm not the big fan, but I know people that are. And when there was actually a big thing when she was touring during the whole world tour, due to regional pricing, Argentina tickets were cheaper than other countries around it. So there was a lot of people coming to see her here from other countries, and people were like, hey, they're taking away our ticket, blah, blah, blah. There was a whole thing. So she is sufficiently mainstream. But most metalheads don't follow the mainstream here at all. They aggressively don't follow it. So I don't know. I didn't like being baited. And that was just to get the video because they had a 360 camera. So I felt it was very forced. And that took me out. I was having a great time, but that finally took me out. Then Heart of a Dragon was amazing.
Of course.
But mostly, and for the Fire and Flames, it's okay. But like, the greatest thing about the show was the audience. Because we were all starved for Dragonforce. We love the classic songs. Were they miming? I am 100% sure they mime whenever they want. And by the encore half of things, mostly I feel like they were mostly taking the piece on that, because you can see at many points you can just see them make like grave big mistakes on the guitars, and they just stop playing, do a funny face, and then pick it up, but the song still plays, and it's annoying. I don't like that.
Or is it like back and forth, or like they're actually playing some parts and not others, like the solos or whatever? I cannot
really tell when, like, there are some moments when they do certain things that it sounds completely different for a bit, which you could say, oh, it's like this different preset on the pedal or whatever. Like when Herman does the and then the guitar flies away and he slams it with his lips.
He loves his like flinging the guitar around.
Yeah, so that always sounded different. Like suddenly the guitar sounded different. So that could be like, oh, they changed from the track to them or whatever. And sometimes they switch parts and they start goofing around with each other. And at the start I didn't pay attention to it at all. The songs won. But by the end I was like, yeah, this is just getting a bit annoying. Mostly because sometimes it's really obvious and they seem to like, yeah, whatever. The vocals, I don't know. They were setting up the stagehands were checking issues like that. They wired up the microphones to the wrong channels and they were trying to change them or something. And then when they started, Mark's microphone was off. There were no vocals at all, no lead vocals. But when the bass player did some backing vocals, they were super loud and they sounded pretty live. And then for not even halfway through the first song, the lead vocals came in. But throughout the show, the backing vocals microphones were super loud and felt very on. But for the guitars and stuff, it felt a lot like, there's backings. If they don't want to play a part, they don't. If they don't want to mime it properly, they don't. It felt like that. That was my feeling. And that's a bit annoying. But I'm still happy that I went because I still had a good time.
Like, you're just happy to get these cool songs that you like and
they
share
are actually,
that experience.
They are actually entertaining.
With these guys.
Like,
they put on a good show.
I know I've said in the past that Mark Hudson is not a good frontman, but
everyone's contributing to it. It's not just Mark.
Everyone else there makes up for it in space. They are all super entertaining. They are jumping around. Yeah. I don't know the name of the guy.
They're not one of those bands where they just completely rely on the singer to do all the showmanship.
No, not at all. They are like, they don't even count on him doing it. That's the way I see it. So that's great. The audience was having a good time too. That was the best part. Sharing these songs with all the people there. That was the best.
Yeah, because like I've seen Dragonforce a few times now, and generally I'm like, yeah, it'd be nice if they played more old songs, or yeah, it's kind of lame that they do the miming. Damn it, it's still a fun show. Power metal is good.
Yeah. Whoever is, I don't know the name of the guy that plays with them live. The discount Jared Dines looking guy that plays guitar. He's actually also great. He's jumping around, singing the backing vocals, allegedly playing, putting the effort. And they all interact with themselves. They're all great. Like even G in the drums. He's a fucking frontman. It's amazing.
Yeah,
so
I like him.
It's a good show. They do the pyro is good. The confetti is good. They have the games playing in the screen. So it's all right. If they play here again, I guess I'll probably go again. But because of the songs and enjoying it with the people there more than.
And hey, they didn't play the Space Marine song.
They didn't, luckily. I don't know if they even played it.
We'll call that a win.
We call that a win. And that's it for now. Next episode, we talk about live shows. I would have gone to see Baby Metal. That's going to be interesting.
You're a busy boy these days.
I spent so much money on tickets. It's not even fun.
You didn't even talk about the 2 Paul McCartney shows. Very power metal.
Very power metal, so power metal, dude. When he plays Helter Skelter, he's like, "Yeah,
hey,
everything started here."
Metal.
That's the original metal song.
Yeah. when I took a Beatles class in college, I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And then it was like an extra credit question on our finals, just like write about your favorite song from the Beatles, and I was just like, "Oh, I picked Helter Skelter because it's like, oh, I like metal, and this is the metal song."
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was great. Yeah.
But anyway,
that's it. We did this episode super long, but it was worth it. We had to catch up. And hopefully next time we don't have to catch up this much, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we got some cool stuff coming up, I think.
We have some cool stuff coming up. We actually have some episodes planned, which is a nice, refreshing feeling. It's been a long time since we had some plans. We'll get to that later. Thanks, everyone, for listening along, and I hope this was interesting or boring enough that you fell asleep.
I saw a video essayist describe himself as a glorified adult lullaby maker.
Yeah,
and I'm like, damn, if that ain't that, it's just what we're all doing.
That's what we strive for, because you get the most money out of the people that leave YouTube in autoplay when they go to sleep.
We don't get any money off of that, though.
We don't, because we're not monetized. But it was the meta for the past for the last years. But anyway, that's it. The show's over. Bye, everyone. Stay powerful.
Stay powerful.